Up next, it's Grandma Got Run Over by a Reindeer, only on Cartoon Network.
As the holiday season approaches, it's important for us to remember the holiday icons of the past. From Frosty the Snowman, to Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, to that bearded guy that was in some of them, wasn't he? Wasn't he in some of them? He had a beard. Is this landing? But I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I cannot lie to you. My old-time go-to holiday classic is still Grandma Got Run Over by a Reindeer. To this day, not only is the song an absolute certified slapper, but the special just remains the same amount of entertaining every single year I watch it. In fact, it almost gets better, like a fine wine. And yes, I still watch it every year, okay? I don't have kids yet. I don't gotta do normal Christmas stuff. The special originally aired on Cartoon Network, as we all remember, but now airs on the CW for some weird reason. I'm imagining a potential Riverdale crossover, and I'm getting nervous. But for me, this will always remain just a Cartoon Network classic. They really did blast the heck out of this every year around Christmas time. It's basically the scary godmother of Christmas, inaccurately so, because this special is just way darker than it needs to be. And if I'm being honest, as we rewatch the special every year, its age does begin to show a little bit. And with the insanity that has been 2020, I really cannot help but wonder, okay, so how would this go down today? And while I think things could play out in a similar fashion, there'd be some huge differences, or at least some additional factors into how the world as a whole would react to it. So what if the story from Grandma Got Ran Over by a Reindeer happened today? And ladies and gentlemen, that is the question we are going to answer today. What if the story of Grandma Got Ran Over by a Reindeer happened today? Dear Lord, could you imagine? So without further ado, gather around the campfire, get that hot cocoa, because we got this all figured out. Unlike Santa Claus, when he almost committed manslaughter. Okay, the first thing we have to address, if we're going to spin Grandma Got Run Over by a Reindeer into modern times, is laying out how Santa Claus and his presence in the public eye would be. Because if Santa Claus was real, no, not St. Nicholas, Santa as perceived in fictional media, there's no way he would just be living a quiet life. He wouldn't be a myth, he wouldn't be an enigma, and his existence would have definitely been exposed way sooner than later. Even if he didn't want to, this man would be a massively public figure, a beloved celebrity, glorified mascot, overworked CEO, maybe even a politician. I would love to hear what Santa thinks about the Green New Deal. And because he's Santa Claus, he'd basically pop up in nearly every criteria of the public eye. Every single depiction of him in a brand like Coke would instead be an official endorsement. It'd be kind of weird, like having the Queen on a bottle of Mountain Dew or Obama on Doritos. Please, actually make that happen. Oh my god. I don't know, December could probably be very obnoxious or very scary, which it already kind of is. Depression goes up during the holiday season, guys. Look it up. God, he'd probably be like a social media influencer, spreading positive messages to kids on mobile ads. He'd probably be on TikTok by now. Picture like Gordon Ramsay or Shaquille O'Neal level of prominence. He'd have some stupid corporate Twitter account that would only tweet on major holidays or like Veterans Day or something. And in terms of Santa Clausy things, his entire operation would likely be internationally funded by all countries that celebrate Christmas. From the workshop to Santa delivering gifts on every doorstep. I mean, he definitely wouldn't be doing like home invasion. He'd probably leave it on the doorstep all Amazon style. I could honestly see Jeff Bezos wiggling his greedy, dirty little hands into the equation. You don't just develop same-day delivery unless you know some shit, man. And Santa's basically the ultimate Amazon Prime. Also, whether or not Santa was like some sort of truly immortal being or the next of kin, some kind of granted title, it doesn't really matter. If people know you as Santa, you better run, dog. Because you already know that Santa would be a controversial figure, and the concept of giving gifts to kids across the globe for free seems like a harmless and simple process, but you better believe some people are gonna have some serious trust issues with Santa. First off, the idea of Santa coming unannounced, without permission, would definitely cause outrage throughout the year, so I imagine people would instead register their children on a list if they wanted presents. I don't know why people wouldn't want free gifts, but then again, some people don't want life-saving vaccines, so I see where we stand. Maybe people don't want to feel like they're getting handouts when they can afford gifts on their own. I don't know, human emotions are weird. If he were real, I doubt he'd really be omnipresent. There would instead be a system to determine who's naughty or nice, including processing a transcript of someone's academic performance, maybe a letter written from parental guardians, letters written from teachers, you get the idea. Basically, a lot less magical and a lot scarier for somebody in the 3rd grade. I'm sure people would uncover evidence of discrimination between who makes it onto the naughty or nice list. and the quality of gifts children receive. I can already see the convincing video essays of Santa being classist in my head right now. So nicer kids get nicer presents? Then Santa, tell me why you just so happen to miss the same struggling city every year for 5 years in a row. I smell a discrimination lawsuit. The lawsuits alone would just be insane. Where Santa truly got his funding from would definitely be a point of contention, as it's already been with every major corporation. Like I said before, there'd probably be a weird barrier with religion, but we're not touching that with a 10-foot pole. Okay, that's way out of my pay grade. Look, I'm sure Santa could easily be portrayed to be a rich capitalist with phony morals and beliefs, but I'm also sure just as many people would be there to defend him and believe he has a heart of gold. Very interesting parallels I'm drawing to a specific person right now. Maybe there's something we can learn here. Overall, some people may be more cynical towards the holidays than others, and tying it back into the classic Christmas tale, the Spankenheimers would definitely be the former. All of this said, realistic Santa is a lot lamer than the Santa we have, and a Santa living with these conditions in a modern world couldn't just breeze through a major scandal, let alone a lawsuit and trial. So finally, on to the main event here. How would the story of Grandma Got Run Over by a Reindeer play out today? Okay, so we already know the basic setup of Grandma Got Run Over by a Reindeer. Jank Spankenheimer helps his grandma out at her small store, but future wife of Jeff Bezos, cousin Mel, wants the entire family to catch the gold-digging bug and make a fortune out of the store by selling it to Austin Bucks, generic CEO asshat. With a name like that, how is he not supposed to be rich? Cousin Mel spikes grandma's fruitcake with a secret ingredient. Jesus, wait, that's so dark. She drugged her own, oh my god. And on a fateful Christmas Eve, Grandma gets absolutely schmacked when said ingredients within her fruitcake act as a reindeer nip and causes a busy Santa to get derailed and lose control, basically committing manslaughter. The story could have gone a lot darker, is all I'm saying. Grandma gets hit in the middle of the road, an event witnessed by Jake and Grandpa. Although nobody else in the family believes it, or at least rationalizes why it wasn't Santa, and Grandma mysteriously disappears. Santa leaving a note behind, but it's snatched up the following morning by sneaky cousin Mel. The police investigate, finding her imprint on the snow, and declares Grandma a missing woman. And then they don't really do much else. I really hope my grandma never goes missing. Oh my god. So pretty cut and dry, right? Wrong. There's absolutely no way Santa could hit Grandma without any proof to back it up. Everybody has a camera nowadays. Like, let's say the small improbable chance that they don't have a ring on their front door, or the camera gets obscured by snow and frost. I refuse to believe that nobody wouldn't have a camera nearby. And if Santa is an established public figure at this point, you know people would be standing outside ready to capture him on video anyways. Which leads us to the next part of our story. Grandma goes viral. On Christmas morning, Jake finds that Santa is in hot water. Trending #1 on all major social media platforms, for far from good reasons, someone managed to capture Santa absolutely clapping Grandma on video. Angle and video quality may vary. The video spreads like wildfire. Grandma has gone viral. People would probably argue it's fake or staged, but you know Reddit would come in and just break down why it's real. From details on the sleigh itself to velocity of impact, they'd go full MatPat on the whole situation. There really wouldn't be much reason for doubt. YouTubers would probably get to the story before big news media. Philip DeFranco would declare Santa the douchebag of the day or something. But after the holiday weekend, you know CNN, NBC, Fox, they'd be all over this. Jaded elves that used to work at the North Pole would come forward and paint the situation as Santa being completely in the wrong. The internet would find at least one of them charismatic enough to become a reaction meme, and the heat would be on Santa full blast. My guess is that most of the Spankenheimer family would probably try to avoid interviews and such. You see how little they cared when Grandma went missing in the movie. Cousin Mel would immediately pivot and use the opportunity for clout and money, amassing a following off pretending to be concerned for Grandma, and more importantly, defaming Santa. Knowing Mel though, she would already be accustomed to the internet and would have probably participated in grifting prior. She's probably already been cancelled before, so she would naturally attract call-outs and exposés. Jake, however, would be out there defending Santa Claus with his platform the attention it's given him, already advocating for people to believe that he saw it with his own eyes and that it was truly an accident. To probably much more flack than what Mel's getting, since again, Santa would be a lot more controversial at this point. Speaking of the jolly guy, Santa would remain distant for a few days and probably would be advised by his legal team to let it not be known that the elves are nursing Grandma back to health as she recovers from the incident and her newfound amnesia, as it could be argued to a full-on kidnapping case if they don't present it right. After days or even weeks of radio silence, Santa would come forward in an official press conference and confirm he indeed hit Grandma, that it was an accident and they're still investigating to fully understand, probably going on to say that all the reindeer were well trained and that Grandma has received very special care and is in good spirits. But no doubt people would be pissed. Not only would Santa's statement be read as superficial and ingenuine, people would be quick to label the situation as an abduction, similar to what happens in the original special. Accident or not, Grandma being okay or not, that alone would land Santa in hot water. And honestly, I don't think I'd blame people. Yeah, Yeah, he's trying to help, but really? Taking her to the North Pole, saying that she has amnesia? Just leave her with her family, bro. Like, they probably have insurance, I hope. Or a local hospital or something. The North Pole? What time zone is that in? She doesn't have a cell phone? Plus, he still had bags and stuff, I bet. Was he just delivering the rest of Christmas with an old lady passed out in the backseat? Santa, you got a lot to answer for, my man. This leads us to the fallout. At this point, Santa would fully be canceled for his arguably poor handling of the situation. You already know there'd be Santa memes like him being a terrible driver or looking for a new Mrs. Claus. Ads and partnerships with him would probably be pulled. It would be a rough time for the Claus family. Instead of being missing for 9 months, Grandma would be discharged from the North Pole Hospital and come home, still with amnesia, but in the care of her family now. However, she'd still be unable to work at the family store. Hashtag Get Well Grandma would become a worldwide movement. I can already see the grandma dances and fruitcake challenges. There'd be conspiracy theories galore. Grandpa paid off Santa to kill Grandma. Santa really was shopping for a new mistress. Santa's being framed and the actual Santa was fake. One of the reindeer was on drugs. I'm sure Alex Jones would have his own weird 2 cents to the matter, claiming that Grandma is secretly reptilian and Santa was being a hero by trying to take her out. At the very least, I know Joe Rogan would probably just talk about it aimlessly for like 20 minutes, and it would be amazing. Over the months, Cousin Mel would encourage Grandpa to press charges and sue Santa, all the while trying to get Grandma, who's still suffering from amnesia, to sell the store to Austin, since she's unable to run it, but I still don't think business would necessarily decline. If anything, the store would be like a pop culture icon in a weird way. People would probably post it on their Snap stories when they passed by. Honestly, I think the awareness of the situation would draw in more customers, most actually being tourists who are interested in the situation. Still, Mel would argue that if Grandma can't run it, and the rest of the family is still in a fragile state, why not just give it away and make some bank? Bank that Cousin Mel would probably try to launder. She's evil, you guys. Also, Grandpa can still have his little musical number, because honestly, he was the best part. I love that musical number. And now at this point, Mel has more Santa haters on her side. More people calling for his arrest. She'd be on cloud 9, feeling on top of the world, like nothing can stop her. She convinces Grandma to sue and brings in I Am Slime. But before that happens, Mel gets the family signed onto a Netflix special. Look, when there's misfortune and curiosity, there's a Netflix documentary. And after the crazy success of Tiger King, you know Netflix would lunge at the opportunity to tell the story about Grandma getting run over by a reindeer. Forget Cartoon Network, this would be on the front page. While Santa himself would most likely decline an interview or any sort of input, the Spankenheimer family would be pressured by Mel to participate, even an amnesia-induced Grandma. The docu-series wouldn't break any new ground beyond even more people getting invested into the family, and would probably generate even more memes and future rap lyrics. But I do think that throughout the episodes, Mel would slowly give herself away, Carol Baskin style, formulating a lot of spot-on theories that Mel herself is the real capitalist villain in all of this. For example, she'd probably be consistently adamant that Grandma shouldn't eat her own fruitcake, and other sus stuff like that. Ultimately, this documentary would be successful, but it would be no making a murderer, and the world's intrigue would soon shift to the trial. After the impact of the Netflix special simmers down, time would inch closer and closer to Santa's trial. Much like in the proper special storyline, Jake's older sister Daphne would start connecting dots and suspecting Mel is the real one who should be on trial. Thanks to internet sleuthing, Jake and Daphne would follow Mel around and stumble upon her secret cabin, finding Santa's note from Christmas Eve that Mel scooped up from the scene, along with the vial of the secret ingredient that set off the reindeer, and decide to feed Grandma her own fruitcake in order to restore her memory. Soon after that, Jake and Daphne would expose Mel at Santa's trial with all of the evidence, flooring the jury before them. Forced into a corner, Mel confesses to everything, including her own hatred for the true meaning of Christmas, and at that point it'd be over. I imagine this trial being like OJ level big, paired with its own iconic moments, maybe Santa trying on a glove. Is that a bad, should I not make that joke? Santa would have a small sentence, like community service or something, even though he already does the world a great service, but whatever. Either way, they're going to figure out a way to not imprison Santa, but he's still kind of committed to kidnapping, but also not really. I imagine the snow in the North Pole is morally gray. Mel, however, is placed under arrest for her horrible deeds, including the money laundering, and they all live happily ever after, sort of kinda. She still probably gets hit by Santa again, but hopefully at this point they know what to do, or maybe the impact finally just knocked out Grandma for good. Either way, that's a whole separate video. In the aftermath of everything, Austin Bucks franchises Grandma's stores across America. It's sort of like a capitalistic middle ground. Mrs. Claus becomes a more prominent figure in the wake of the hashtag Get Well Grandma movement, and eventually the Clauses are seen as a duo. It doesn't completely fix Santa's rep, but it's a start. The one who gains the most, however, is probably Jake, who after all of these events gets mad clout and becomes a Twitch streamer or something. Come on, you try to tell me this kid wouldn't be a gamer. He basically has the TikTok hair. He'd probably play Minecraft with Dream or something. something. Mel gets bailed out with a GoFundMe from her loyal simp army and probably marries Jeff Bezos. And Grandpa gets a record deal, cause come on, he totally would. Either way, I hate to say it, but stripping the world of its magic and throwing this crazy film through a 2020 lens almost makes the movie vastly more entertaining, at least in my opinion. I would pay anything to watch the events I described, fully animated. Even if it was in the same early 2000s quality, it still would probably be the greatest thing I could ever witness. But that being said, overall, this is just a fun reimagining, and if you think we're wrong or got anything inaccurate, just calm down. It's not that serious. That being said, I would still love to hear your own interpretations. How do you think this would go? Is there something that you think would have gone differently? Let us know in those comments down below. Tweet to us around Roundtable Vids or me at @StretcherNemo. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like, share it, or subscribe to the Roundtable for more incredible content. If you want to consider helping out the channel, you can support us on Patreon and get exclusive access to scripts and avatars, or become a member of the channel. As always, guys, I'm Nemo. This is a Grandma Got Run Over by a Reindeer thought experiment video, and I will see you next time. Peace.